Punching above its weight, a phrase once used by a British Foreign Secretary to describe his country's role on the world stage, often repeated since. But the punch could be losing power.
Leaving the EU means that the UK could now be seen as a medium-sized economy in an increasingly polarized world where there are massive economic blocs. You have the United States, you have China, you have the EU. In the coming century, you'll also have India, the rise of South America and Africa to compete as well. What will the UK's place be?
McDonough says a measure of Britain's fading clout was its November loss of a judge at the International Court of Justice. After a long battle at the United Nations, London withdrew its candidate. An Indian judge took the place occupied by Britain since the ICJ's inception in 1946.
The way the powers game works now is decidedly different from that of 1945. And we have to question whether the UN Security Council will continue in this form for much longer.
But most analysts say it is unlikely Britain will lose its permanent seat on the UN Security Council anytime soon.
Most of the big powers in the Security Council, including the United States and China, don't want to see any serious reforms to the institution in the foreseeable future.
Britain insists its post-Brexit ambition is to create a global Britain.
On the one hand, the British Foreign Service will be able to invest more resources in UN affairs now that they are going to be less focused on the EU. But on the other hand, without the support of 27 other countries, the British are going to find it much harder to influence debates over humanitarian affairs, development or security through the UN.
A foretaste came in June when many EU countries failed to vote with Britain on a resolution over its claim to the Chagos Islands in the Indian Ocean. Britain needs to keep Europe on side, argues Gowan.
If the British are seen to be simply cozying up to the Americans, they are going to lose a lot of goodwill from their European partners pretty quickly.
In seeking a new role on the world stage, analysts say Britain will need to forge new alliances while keeping old friends close and try to weather turmoil back home. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.